Welcome to San Francisco Giants post-game recap here in the back way, right outside of Oracle Park here. Giants are October bound. They're going to be back in the postseason for the first time in 5 years. Giants were a rout over the San Diego Padres on Monday night, 9-1, as the Giants have punched their ticket to the big dance. They are heading to postseason baseball for the first time in 5 years, and who would ever believe, where this team was 5 years ago? And we got Steve Garrison coming in, making his appearance on our show. The Giants are on 9 runs on 8 hits, 4 more home runs on Monday night. They now have 217 home runs. That's the most in the majors. 14th multi-home run game. That's a new franchise record, passing the 1954 Giants who ended up winning the World Series in 1954. And the bullpen from Leon, Garcia, Littell, Alvarez, Duvall, Castro, 11 strikeouts. And then Evan Longoria, 2 for 4 home run. And it was Longoria. And it was Wade Jr., 2 for 3. Belt, LaStella also homered. And all-around team effort. Giants getting their 94th win of the season, extend their current winning streak to 8 in a row. And Steve, we've known each other now for the last 11 years, since 2010, since they begun that run with that of at least 2 or one of the original left from that 2010 team, or of the 3 players of that core 3 or core 4 when they won 3 World Series titles in the previous decade.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, Posey is the only one who's left on that
Exactly.
team. Yeah, but I mean, there he goes. He's going to be trying to make another push here in October, and every time the Giants have gotten into October the last decade or so, they've had good success. So this is the first step for them by clinching the postseason berth. Now they're guaranteed at least a second wild card at this point. But I mean, I think
first wild card and hosting that game at worst. But this is kind of like you said it early on. This is kind of the I'm gonna throw a plug in for your wife parents Giacchino's little appetizers on the little table scraps of it up at your in-laws up there in Bodega Bay. The first step.
Oh, you mean for the newborn? Well, yeah, this is a little taste of the playoff baseball. She won't remember it though. She's at such a young age,
but the appetizers like the calamari.
This is an hors d'oeuvre for her.
Yeah.
This is an hors d'oeuvre, but
hors d'oeuvres and some Pepsi,
right
some
now,
Sprite,
the Giants have a lot more work to do right now, so they need to see if they can hold off LA and try to get in there and avoid that one-game wild card.
That one-game knockout, of course,
yeah.
And then the Giants. We've been knowing each other for 11 years. You've been a Giant fan since when? Around the late 80s, early?
Oh, I've been a Giants fan. I started watching baseball back in '88 with my grandfather. I was 5 years old, and he took me to games in the '90s back at Candlestick Park. So my roots go all the way back to the stick.
Me too. I started following baseball at the end of '85. That whole postseason with the Royals coming back to beat the Cardinals in that Missouri I-70 World Series. But really, '86 was my first full go around. That's when the Giants, turned things around after that horrible '85 campaign when they lost 100 games, and the Will Clark, Robbie Thompson, Chili Davis, Jeffrey Leonard, Mike Krukow, '86 turnaround. You gotta like these kids to their division title team in '87, and then of course '86, of course, my first full year, the turnaround of the Giants, and the great postseason of '86 with the Red Sox coming from behind to beat the Angels, who were a strike away from elimination, and then the Mets with their grinder with Houston in 6 games, trying to face Mike Scott in the 7th game, the same Mike Scott who threw a division clincher no-hitter against your San Francisco Giants some 35 years ago, and then the World Series game 6 and 7 for me. That was an icing on the cake.
It certainly was.
For the Giants.
The Giants had their great runs too in the early 2010s. The 3 championships, and now hopefully this is a decade where they're gonna pick up where they left off in the beginning of last decade.
Kind of like Jake and Elwood, like that theme in the movie Blues Brothers by the great John Landis. We're putting the band back together. You only have at least 3 players left from that original core.
Yeah,
You know,
you got Belt,
Belt,
Crawford, and
Crawford,
Posey. I
and
think
Posey.
are the lone
Three
survivors
positions, the last three position players.
from that
the
2012,
The
2014
rest of that
team.
pitching staff is now retired or out of baseball altogether. Lincecum and Kane and Matt Baum is still active, but he's pitching with down in the Southwest with the Diamondbacks. So, in hand, you just gotta appreciate baseball. It's not going to happen every year. We knew 4 years ago, the Giants had the best record at the All-Star break. We were talking about this is going to be one of the greatest Giant teams ever, and then everything
collapsed.
It just blew up like a big ton of dynamite.
Yeah, same thing happened in 2016.
Yeah, well, it's 16, and you know it snowballed, and then they go to finishing nearly losing 100 games 4 years ago. Lost 98 was their worst.
It's crazy this year to think about how there's the possibility that the two rivals, the Giants and the Dodgers, are like doing this well this late into the season, and it's going to be such a dog fight to like down to the last game of the season, it seems, to see who's going to win that NL crown. But there's potential if the Dodgers was to play their wild card game. Let's say the Giants hold on, win the division, the Dodgers play the wild card and win against whomever that wild card team may be. The two teams will play each other, I believe, for the first time since the Bobby Thompson home run in the playoffs, right?
Well, of course, they played those 2 out of 3. They were regular season games because they were tied after 162, or I don't know, was it 51, 62. They came from behind down by 2 runs in the ninth to win the pennant, and those games do count because they're regular season games.
Correct.
2 out of a best of 3 for the National League, and then 1 game playoff for the American League. And this is another tricky stat. This is the Giants only the 3rd team to clinch a postseason berth at this late of any season in mid-September with at least 3 weeks this early with 3 in franchise history, but with 3 weeks left to play since divisional play began in '69. 2 other teams did it: the '75 Reds with the Big Red Machine, Rose, Bench, Morgan, Concepcion, and George Foster in their prime, and then the New York Mets in '86 with Doc, Gooden, Strawberry, Hernandez, Carter, Dykstra, and Mookie Wilson. That Mets team I remember very
I remember
vividly.
Dale Strawberry, didn't he have a brief stint with the Giants?
That's correct. That's right. Yeah, but it's just going to be the first step, and the best is yet to come, though. And you know, this is a great way to come back after the horrible pandemic wiped out the season last year. Nobody expected this. 94 wins. Kapler is going to win National League Manager of the Year.
Absolutely, he deserves it.
And that's all. That's pretty much it for that. I know you got to get going before Miss Alicia goes Kung Fu Panda with a baseball bat. Hey.
Well, Alicia, she's at home with the little one right now, and you know, she's become my pride and joy. And you know, one thing I could say that Alicia, being a mom, just so naturally, you know, she's a natural at it. And you know, she's I'm proud of her. You know, she's a very good mom and a good wife, and I'm proud of the
Like Robert Redford in the movie The Natural. I don't know if she could launch balls